Today is the day. I am finally starting my Ren Faire costume. I've never made a Ren Faire costume before, so this is gonna be my first time. I've been to the Ren Faire, but I decided this year I want to make it. This is gonna be like a multi-part process, so yeah. So here's my design. TBD on if I stick with it. I need to make the smock layer, so that's the under layer that goes against my skin. It's pretty plain, should be pretty easy to do. And then I need to make like a petticoat that goes on top of that, but it's gonna be showing at the front. So I want it to be like kind of cute. And then like a kirtle, I think that's right. It's basically like a corset. I don't know, I need to check. But I have that I bought at the Ren Faire a few years ago. So I'm just gonna use that. And then on top of that, I want the overgown. So like the pretty stuff. And I got some really pretty velvet fabric. Hopefully I have enough of. And then like a headband or something like that. TBD. So I'm starting one step at a time. So the first thing I need to do is the smock layer. The easiest part, hopefully. So let's get into it. I'm so excited. So for this, I went to the thrift store and I got a king size bedsheet because I'm cheap. I washed it like 2 times, so it should be clean. And it's just like this off-white color. It feels like sort of cotton. Hopefully it's breathable. So this Ren Faire is in SoCal and it gets really hot. So I'm really excited about that. But at least this will protect my garment from my sweat, hopefully. So for the smock layer, historically, that would be the layer that gets washed. So I think they didn't really wash the upper parts. Oh, by the way, I'm trying to make it kind of historically accurate. I'm going off of like Anne Boleyn sort of style. I like the lower, like the more open neckline. I didn't want to do one of those like Elizabethan collars. So I want to have it a little bit open at the top. So that's what I'm doing. Going back to the smock layer, I might take it a little unhistorical. I want to add lace detail. I think I remember reading something about adding lace trim wasn't really typical of the time period. So this is in the 1500s or 16th century. But I wanted to add a little extra something something. Typically what they would do is, I think, embroider, like a piece of embroidery on the edges, but I don't have an embroidery machine and I'm not about to hand embroider all of that. Like, I just don't want to do that. So instead, I want to use like a lace trim around the arms and maybe the neckline. Another thing I read was typically the smocks use what's called gussets. I haven't actually done gussets before, so that will be something new. I also don't know why they did gussets, so we're gonna give that a go. It should be pretty straightforward. It just needs to be big enough for me to slip over my head. I'm gonna figure out, I wanna do big gathered sleeves. I need to figure out how to make the wrists gathered. I'm trying to avoid using elastic. That would be the easiest, but I'm thinking I might want to do some sort of ties. Yeah. So let's get started. Oh, it's 55% cotton and 45% polyester. There's also some holes in this bedsheet. I need to make sure I cut around it. Otherwise I'm gonna have a hole. I also don't know how tall I want it. How should I do? Is this tall enough? I think that would be tall enough. Maybe I'll just take a nap. No. Just kidding. Here's the pattern for the gusset. One of the beauties of using gussets for sleeves is that the sleeves are just rectangles. So I'm going to attach the front and backs of the sleeves to make one giant rectangle using French seams. So now that my sleeves are in single pieces, I need to take the gusset. So it kind of needs to be like this. Hang on. So I'm gonna do French seams for these. I need to connect these like this. Like this one, right sides together. And then this one, right side. No, sorry, I meant wrong sides together. Wrong sides together. Not right sides, wrong sides. And then I wanna make sure that I leave the seam allowance. So I need, you know, don't go all the way to the edge, but you can always unpick it later. Okay, so I'm gonna start with that and then see how it goes. I'm doing a small seam allowance, so like 1/4 inch. Yeah, so I'm basically gonna sew here, here, and then all along here, like a teeny tiny seam allowance. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, hang on. Let me do it. Okay, I did it. And this is what the outside looks like. Feel like it looks bad. Maybe I stitched too much. Hang on. Like, is that a little better? Yeah, I think that's a little better. And then I'm gonna flip it the other way and fold that and then stitch over top. Okay, I did the gusset for the first one. It's fine. I mean, at this point, I'm just like, why did I do that? I don't know if it's doing what it's supposed to do. I don't know. I feel like I wanted to try it out. But I don't know if I did it right. I don't think I did it right. It just looks weird. I mean, I guess it like allows stretch but then it's like, why didn't I just extend this shape? I don't know. It's fine. It is what it is. Maybe the angle is not right. Like maybe I needed to make this like a square rather than this shape. Would that have worked better? I don't understand. I don't understand. How does that make sense? Why would it be like that? Shouldn't it be like this? I don't understand gussets. Did I do it wrong? Somebody help me. Maybe it's fine. You know what? I'm just gonna go with it, okay? I'm just gonna go with it. Maybe I'll do a gusset again, but as of right now, I never want to do a gusset again. I feel like for me, I don't know if this is the right move for historical accuracy. I'm using a sewing machine. Why do I need to be historically accurate? I'm already not. This is half polyester. Why am I doing gussets? But here we are. Let's continue. I totally did it wrong. I totally... I was supposed to do it down here, wasn't I? And then, like, the body like this. So then this part goes like that. No. Oh, hang on. Let me unpick this mess. Okay, I'm back. I did it. I think this looks right. Yep. There we go. That's what it's supposed to look like. Amazing. Okay. Now I have to do it all over again. But this time, I'll try to show you how I did it. What you want to do is take the right side up, and I have it marked where the sleeve should be. So the fold angles like away from the armpit. and the part that we've marked needs to attach to it. So start with one. You want to line up the edge here and go all the way to that fold. And you're doing wrong sides together. And you're not going to want to go all the way to the end. Leave like, you know, maybe like this much off the end. Normally this would be like a corner, but just don't go all the way to the edge. You could always unpick it. So let me sew that down real quick. I sewed that down. And then now take the other side and do the same thing. So again, wrong sides together. And now it should look like this. And if you look closely, there's the stitch line. And then you want to sew the rest of a sleeve and match it up to there. So I sewed that down. And now it looks like this. With the gusset like that. Not too bad. And then now I'm gonna flip it the other way like this. And then press it. So hang on. Okay, I pressed it. So now what we're gonna do is sew this edge shut like that, and then follow it with this one. And again, don't sew it all the way to the edge. Sew it so these 2 points meet, you know? Like kind of what we did with the other one. So now it looks like this. I didn't quite mean it. Again, the next stitch should close it up. And then now I'm gonna finish off the rest of the sleeve. This is what it looks like. Not too bad. Could be worse. Before I attach the sleeves to the body, I'm gonna add a couple rows of gathering stitches. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to attach this, so the back and the front, wrong sides together. And I marked out where the gusset should sit. And I need to adjust the gather so it hits this area. Okay? Wrong sides together. Okay, let's go. And then now I'm going to continue that down all the way to the bottom. Now I have it wrong, wrong sides out. And then I just need to press it so that it looks like this and then stitch it. First, I want to do the sleeve and then I'll do the sides. Okay, here's how it's looking so far. I think that looks pretty good. I just took out some of the visible basting stitches and like trimmed as much as I could find. Here's the gussets. It's okay. I mean, here's the thing. This is like the underwear layer. Does it really have to look that pretty? No. So now what I need to do is trim the bottom because I was just kind of guesstimating when I cut it. And probably patch this little hole. Whatever. It's not the prettiest, but at least hopefully it won't get bigger. And now on to trimming the bottom. I don't really care how like level this is, just because it's going to be covered. As long as it doesn't drag on the floor. Okay, the next thing I think I'm gonna do is hem the bottom of the skirt. So I'm just gonna fold it up like 2 times and sew it down. So real quick before I do the neckline, I'm just gonna cut out facing for it using the same pattern piece. I'm leaving maybe like, let's say like 1 3/4 all the way around. And then I'm just gonna fold over the edge, finish off the outside edge. So just double folding. Hang on a second. So I finished the facing and now I need to put it right sides together on the neckline. So this is the trim I'm gonna use. It kind of matches. How do I want to do this though? So I kind of want it to stick out in between these layers. So like, let me show you. Flip it and then it pokes out kind of like this. I feel like that's gonna look the best. Like this would totally be like a lot easier to do. You know what, actually, okay, I'm gonna put the facing on and then I'm gonna put it on top because I think I'll have to do something like that for the sleeves and I want them to match. So going back to what I was doing, I'm just going to do the facing. So I pressed everything flat and now I just need to place my trim. I've also pinned the facing down so it's a bit easier. I'm gonna start in the back and I'm gonna start just at the center. And I want the trim up and then I'm just gonna get it as close to the edge as possible and stitch it down. Okay, let's give this a shot. I switched to my zipper foot to try to get as close as possible. We'll see how this goes, especially with the camera in my way. And we're already off. Okay, I can't do this with the camera in my face. Okay, let's try this again. So I got the trim on. I think it looks pretty good. And now I'm just gonna tack down, like just do a couple little stitches to hold the corners down so the facing doesn't flap up and down. So I went ahead and just hemmed the sleeves, just like I did the bottom hem, folded it over twice and sewed it down. And now I'm gonna put the trim. So the problem I have is I don't have enough trim exactly, like it's almost, like it's basically, you know, 1.5 inches off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put a gathering stitch and it will gather ever so slightly so that I could fit the trim on. And now I'm gonna make some bias binding that I'm gonna use for the casing for the ties on the sleeves. I'm also using some of that bias binding to make the ties themselves. I'm just folding the bias binding in half and then sewing it shut.